Have you ever really stopped to think about it? The phone in your pocket, the food on your plate, even the very air you're breathing right now. What's the one thing that connects them all? Today, we're going to dig into the fundamental building blocks of our world, the stuff we so often take for granted, but that makes absolutely everything else possible.
So yeah, think about it. An incredible piece of technology, a simple meal, and something as basic as the air in your lungs. They seem like they're from completely different worlds, right? But believe it or not, there's a single powerful thread that ties them all together. Any guesses? That's right. Every single one of them. It all comes from the earth. The rare minerals that power your phone, the rich soil and clean water that grew your food, all of it starts as a natural resource. This isn't just some abstract idea. It's the absolute foundation of our economy, our technology, and, well, our survival. So let's be clear about what we mean by natural resources. It's not just the stuff we can, dig up or chop down. It's also all the essential services the environment provides for free. Things like clean air, fresh water, a stable climate. These are the resources that make everything else we do even possible. Okay, and this is a really crucial distinction to make. These resources basically fall into two big buckets. On one side, you've got your renewables, things like sunlight, wind, and forests. If we're smart about it, they can replenish themselves. But on the other side, you've got non-renewables, like fossil fuels and minerals. There's only so much of that stuff. And once we use it up, well, it's gone for good. And that simple fact changes absolutely everything. So this brings us to a really fundamental conflict in how we think about the world. It's a true clash of perspectives, a tale of two worldviews about the relationship between our economy and our planet. For a very, very long time, the dominant view of the economy has been pretty simple. We've treated the environment like this giant warehouse, just a collection of resources there for the taking. In this old way of thinking, nature's just another input, like land or labor. And this slide really breaks down the two competing models perfectly. On the left, you've got classical economics, which sees the environment as just one small part inside our big human economy. But now look at the right. Ecological economics totally flips that idea on its head. It says, no, wait a minute. Our entire economy exists inside the environment. We're completely dependent on it for everything, for resources coming in and for a place to put waste going out. This new perspective completely reframes our relationship with the planet. The human economy isn't some separate system floating in space. It's more like a small box that's constantly pulling in materials and energy from the bigger box, the environment, and then pushing waste back out. We aren't separate from nature. We are entirely contained within it. So, if our economy is just a part of the environment, how does that change how we measure our wealth? Well, it turns out our traditional methods are giving us a dangerously misleading picture of how well we're actually doing. Let's try an analogy for a second. Imagine Planet Earth is a company, Earth Incorporated. If you were going to invest, what would you look at? What's on its balance sheet? What are its real core assets? I can tell you it's not just about the money in the bank. And there's a term for this, natural capital. This is such a critical concept. Think of it like the planet's total asset list, the whole stock of forests, fisheries, clean air, fertile soil, everything that provides a continuous flow of valuable goods and services. And to get the full picture, the World Bank says a nation's wealth is really made up of three parts. First, you've got produce capital. That's the stuff we build, like roads, buildings, and machines. Then you've got intangible capital, which is our knowledge, our health, our social systems. And finally, there's that all-important natural capital. Real wealth is a combination of all three. But here is the massive, glaring flaw in our accounting system. Our most famous economic number, gross domestic product, or GDP, treats the destruction of our natural capital as pure income. I mean, if you cut down an entire forest and sell the timber, GDP goes way up. It never subtracts the value of the forest that's now gone. It's like a business selling off all its machines and counting it as profit. It's just bad accounting. And you can see this problem crystal clear when you look at a chart like this. The dashed line is GDP, and look, it's been climbing for decades. Looks great, right? It seems like we're all getting richer. But the solid line is something called the Genuine Progress Indicator, or GPI. It tries to account for those environmental costs. And what happens? It's been almost completely flat. This suggests our actual well-being, our genuine progress, isn't really growing at all. But it gets even deeper than that. Beyond just the raw materials we pull out of the ground, nature is constantly performing work for us completely free of charge. And these are services that are worth an almost unimaginable amount of money.
This captures the problem perfectly. It's really easy to walk up to a pile of timber and put a price tag on it. We know what that's worth. But what's the value of the living forest it came from? What's the dollar value of the clean water it provides, the floods it prevents, the stable climate it supports? Because those things are harder to measure, we've basically valued them at zero for centuries.
These unpaid jobs are called ecosystem services. I mean, think about all the things ecosystems just do for us. They regulate the climate. They purify our air and water. They pollinate our crops. They create fertile soil. They even produce the oxygen we breathe. These aren't just nice little perks. They are the fundamental life support systems that make our economy and our lives possible. So what are these services actually worth? Well, a landmark study back in 1994 tried to put a number on it, and the estimate they came up with was just staggering. 33 trillion US dollars, and that's per year. Now, to put that number in perspective for you, the entire global economy at that time, the total value of everything humanity produced and sold was only $18 trillion. So the free services we were getting from nature were worth almost double the entire world's economic output. We are getting a phenomenal, unbelievable deal from the planet, and we're not even putting it on the books. So all of this really leads us to one powerful conclusion. We've got to start thinking like smart investors. We need to manage our planet's assets for the long haul. It's about living on the interest, not draining the principal. And the guiding principle for this new way of thinking has a name: sustainable development. The idea is actually very clear and powerful. Let's meet our needs today, but do it in a way that doesn't compromise the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It's all about finding a balance. When you boil it down, this is really an ethical principle. It's called intergenerational equity. The idea is simple. We don't really own the planet's natural capital. We're more like its custodians, its trustees. And we have a profound responsibility to pass it on intact, or maybe even in better shape, to the next generation. And that leaves us with this final critical question. You see, a healthy planet provides a steady flow of resources and services. That's the interest we can live on forever. So the question we all have to ask ourselves is, are we sticking to that interest? Or are we dipping into the principal, liquidating the core assets, and leaving a depleted bank account for everyone who comes after us?